Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I hope you're all hanging in there. I know it hasn't been easy, but I'm here for you and we're going to have some fun. Okay. We're going to get into some fun shows. There's lots of our favorites that are back and running. And here we go with Real Housewives of New York. Wow. I loved it. It starts out with them all getting the news for the first time with cameras in front of them that Bethany is not coming back. And Ramona was like, you know what? Actually, it's kind of a relief because we really never had like a really great relationship. She was either purring up to me like a kitty cat or she would scratch my eyes out and treated me like crap. Okay. It's like I never knew what I was getting. Okay. It was like that. It was like a cat. Either she was going to purr with you, or she was going to scratch your eyes out. So, you know what? Goodbye, pussycat. Goodbye. So, she didn't care. Sonia was like, what am I going to do now? The kid, my daughter, she's gone off to college. I'm alone, which is weird because we've never seen the daughter throughout this whole, 8 years that she's been on the show. So we're like, oh, your daughter's gone now? She's like, well, even though she was at boarding school her whole life, her friends would come over and now they don't come over because she's got this tiny 2-bedroom apartment. So Ramona comes over to Sonia's and they bring their dogs and Sonia's dog is humping Ramona's. And they're just ready to they're just great. They didn't look that good in this lighting and they definitely are a little older, but I love them and I just could watch them till they're 90. So please don't ever replace either one of them. It's just never stops with the two of them. Okay, there's a new girl named Leah who I really like. She's funny, she's blonde, she has finger tattoos. Now, we've had other housewives with a tat here or there, but this girl's definitely like the least like Upper East Side chick that we've seen in the housewife franchise. Because I think finger tattoos, like the outside of your finger on every finger, says something. I don't know what it says. I guess you'd have to read it on the hand. But the point is, I kind of like it. She's sort of edgy. She never got married. She had a baby daddy that she's still friendly with. She has a 12-year-old cute daughter that she's best friends with, which, of course, every parenting person is like, you shouldn't be best friends with your daughter. Whatever. Who cares? She had some funny lines in this show, which I will get to. So I like her, and I think she's a good addition. And I don't know how old she is, but I guess she's like early 40s, if that. Interesting fact, though, a Juicy Scooper pulled up the fact that she was on an episode of Millionaire Matchmaker. Patty Stanger was trying to set her up. So she's no stranger to reality TV and things like that. And she has a clothing line called Married to the Mob. But it's mostly like sweatshirts and leisure wear and like a lot of shirts that like are like, hey, I'm looking for a new dick or bitch boss. A lot of stuff about being a bitch and like just a mean tough person. So if you want shirts like that, check it out. But apparently she's had it for a long time, so I think she's, somewhat successful. And I guess she likes to go boxing, which is why when I heard her tagline, I was like, I hope that must be her whole thing is that like she likes to box because hers is like, I may float like a butterfly, but I sting like a bitch, which makes sense because now we see that all her shirts have bitch written on them. And the other thing is, I don't know. Tell me, are you like out to buy a shirt that's just as like I'm a boss bitch, and you're gonna go like walk in your neighborhood like that, or is that just a shirt that you buy like ironically for a best friend who's turning 30 or who broke up with her boyfriend or something? Anyway, write me, let me know. Okay, so everyone pretty much likes her because she's so far so good. And I know from my conversations with Luann off the record and when we've hung out because we're friends, the Countess and I are, she said she likes her a lot. And she said that it's in interviews and she's said it to me personally that she likes Leah. So, and thinks she's a great addition to the show, which I agree with. Dorinda at this point is still with John, the dry cleaner, and she is planning a party. And her whole storyline, I guess, is I'm the hostess with the mostest. I make it nice. And she's throwing a party at some bar. We don't really know what the party is about. Anyway, we need to have these moments for filming. So everyone comes together. And as she's getting her hair and makeup done, and she looks really good. I don't know what she had done, but when she's like she does so much filming and so many like videos and things where she doesn't have a speckle of makeup on, which I respect. So when she does get glammed up, she really looks good. She was like real tan. Her hair was platinum. It's a little shorter in this. She looks good. And she's talking to her makeup artist about how she just doesn't get Tinsley. She doesn't understand who Tinsley is. Who is Tinsley? We never talked to Tinsley. Tinsley, at this point, now we know in real life she's engaged to Scott the Coupon King, her on and off again boyfriend from a couple years ago that Carol Radswell set her up with. But while we're filming this, she's a single but dating a twice divorced dad. And she goes and does boxing with the new girl, Leah. And she's like, you know what? I like his kids so much. Maybe I don't need to have my own kid. Maybe I could be happy just being a stepmom. I don't know. And she got two new little dogs. Okay, who cares? So I don't know if she's still living in a hotel or what, but it sounds to me like she never contacts any of the housewives when they're not filming, which we know from being avid watchers of the show and following these women on social media that they don't like it, that the authentic friendships are the ones that continue on when they're not filming, which, we see in other franchises are true. And then you see the person that literally treats it like a job, doesn't talk to anyone for 4 months, and then is like, oh, okay, hi, how was your summer? And she's basically, Dorinda's accusing Tinsley of that. Okay, so we get to the party. But before we get to the party, Ramona is going to meet some other girls that are not part of the cast, but her friends. You know how I always tell you about my really good girlfriends that always throw me like a really lovely luncheon for my birthday? Well, I said, you know what? Meet me at this really sexy bar and let's just have a couple drinks and just celebrate like the end of summer and what's going on in our lives. So she reveals she has this beautiful new apartment and loves it so much. And as she's drinking with her girlfriends, I don't know if she has one too many Pinot Grigios, but I don't even know if she drinks Pinot Grigio anymore because what she really likes to order now is she'll say like, you know what I'd like? Hi, I'd like a glass with a lot of ice, and I like Tito's because it's like healthier for you. And then I like 8 to 12 limes cut up in wedges squeezed into that. And it's like my own version of a skinny girl, but I won't say that because Bethany's going to try to sue me. But I really just like it's like a really refreshing. And if you could muddle some mint in there, like just muddle it. I do have mint, but I like it muddled. I don't like a big leaf. So she's had one too many of those. And she just breaks down and is like, I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm alone and I just want someone to hold me. I want someone to love me. I want a man to love me, Ramona. I just want the arms to go around me. And her friends hug her and everyone's like, geez, let it, like, hey, this is why I love Ramona. She shows all the emotion. Now, recently I heard that Harry Dubin, ex-husband of Aviva, who was on my show just last week, he did some friend of his podcast, and I don't know who it was, but he basically said, from what I heard, that when he's at one of these parties, which he's made several appearances because he's dated Luann, Sonia, and Ramona, he says, like, even if the cameras aren't on Ramona, if you're talking to her, like mid-sentence when something isn't even funny, she'll start laughing and, oh my God, Harry, you're hilarious. And do you guys hear what Harry said? And he's like, I didn't even say anything. And so she knows how to turn it on, which I love and respect, okay? Because she's been consistent throughout the 12 years that we've watched her. But we all are all loving the fact that Avery, their daughter, and she and Mario are all cooped up, quarantined together. And she's cooking and cleaning, and she basically mopped her floor in this lingerie, little like negligee thing that then some juicy scooper pulled out that she wore it like 8 seasons ago on a trip. And I want to say, good for you. If it still looks good on you, what are you going to get rid of your negligee, which you wear like twice a year? No, you're not. Anyway, she is hanging out with Mario. They're cooking every night. And you guys know I predicted that they would get back together. Now, my prediction was, again, sort of similar. How was I going to predict a pandemic? Who do you think I am, okay? But what I predicted is that it would happen when Avery was either getting married or had a small baby, and they would start to watch the baby together. And then Mario wouldn't want to drive home because at that point he'd be in his mid to late 70s and it wouldn't be safe for him to drive at night. and they'd end up together that way. Probably never get remarried, but end their days together. That was my prediction. It's happening earlier than I thought, but it is Avery who's bringing them together under circumstances of having to stay in the same house together. So, again, I think my prediction's pretty good. Speaking of prediction, I hope you guys watch my latest videos, which are here on YouTube, this is on YouTube as well. Please subscribe to the YouTube. We're doing lots of longer versions of the video that you see on my Instagram at Heather McDonald are all on YouTube, youtube.com/Heather McDonald. But we did a great video. It was before the quarantine, and Tyler Henry came over and read Carol Baskin. Obviously, I'm playing both parts, you guys. But Kelly did some amazing editing work. Everyone says they love it. It's not getting as many views as some of my others, so it might have been buried in your feed. So go to my page, look it up either on Instagram or the longer. Well, no, it's just as long on Instagram. So either Instagram or YouTube, watch it, and you'll love it. Okay, we get to the party. The party is now, and Dorinda is like, so I wanted to invite everybody to come because we don't talk to each other as much during the summer, and summer's over and it's an end of a summer party. Who has that? Anyway. And she goes, and I have a special surprise, and here she is. And this drag queen comes out and sings Feelin' Giovanni. And Luann is thrilled. Of course, that's her song. It's very flattering. Ramona's dancing it up. She's really having a good time. And she's kind of getting excited because there's this guy that could not be older than 35 who is there. I forgot his name. But he's there, and he's pretty cute. Not the cutest, but pretty cute. And they make it all very clear that this was a guy Ramona used to bone, but they're not dating anymore. And he comes around Leah, the new girl, and Sonia. And Sonia is like, you know what? Maybe I'll take one of Ramona's leftovers, you know? It's like, come on, there's hot guys here. And so she starts talking to him, and Leah is just like being a major cock blocker. She's like, what? I don't know. And she's like, and Sonia's like, I normally like it, young guys, but I don't know if you're like, a little too young for me. I don't know. And then Leah's like, I'm not into it. You look like the kind of guy that if he was having sex with someone, he'd be looking at himself in the mirror. And Sonia's like, you're like ruining the mood. And then Leah, this in her confessional, which is where I was like, okay, I like this girl. She goes, this guy looks like the kind of guy that'd be just jamming his fingers down your vagina. Well, she said something else, but they bleeped it. And I'd be like, you're missing the spot, dude. That's my thigh. And everyone loved that. Thought it was very funny. So then Sonia says another great line. And Sonia says, I'd like to go home with someone. I mean, come on. I'm out at a bar. That's what I want. So it's like, wake up and smell the Sonia. I'm here. And it was amazing. Now, here's the juiciest part of the night. Dorinda has a conversation with Tinsley, and she starts going at her again. We don't know who you are. You're secretive. We didn't see each other over the summer. And Tinsley's like, I just don't get it. So then she sits down. So then Tinsley joins the rest of the women, and Dorinda comes after her again. Now, Dorinda's pretty buzzed at this point. And who, by the way, Luann is off of probation. And there's been a lot of controversy. Was she ever an alcoholic to start? At this party, she's not drinking. Meanwhile, in real life, her ex little assistant has gone on Insta story and revealed that he felt that she didn't treat him very well when he worked for her. Idiot. Really? Okay, good luck ever getting a job again. But, and that she wasn't truly an alcoholic because she would sometimes have vodka after her shows. Who cares? Like, who gives a shit? Like, of course she probably did. And who cares if she does? But, she's on probation and she had to follow those rules and she had to follow that narrative, as Carol would say, in order to get off probation. She wasn't going to fight it and be like, oh, I'm actually not an alcoholic. And she probably was like, let me try it. I wish part of the quarantine was that I couldn't drink. I would look amazing. I've been drinking every night, not afraid to admit it. All right, here we go. So Luann gets up and she moves aside. And Dorinda just starts screaming, like being really mean to Tinsley. And Leanna's like, oh my God. And then Dorinda gets up and she like stumbled a little. And Tinsley's like, ooh, don't fall over, Dorinda. Whew. Dorinda didn't like that because it's basically like you're obviously drunk. You know when you've drank too much and then you develop the hiccups? It's like there's no denying that you just drank too much too fast. Same with when you have a little stumble and somebody calls you on it. And you're like, "I'm sorry, it was my heel." Okay? It wasn't because I had 14 drinks, you bitch. So she kind of falls over on her heel a little bit. Oh, and she's mad. And she comes over and she goes, "Yeah, you know what? They're nice heels. And they're heels that I paid for, not like you who pays for your heels by being on your back." And Leah's like, "Oh my God." And a lot of people are like, where does this come from? First of all, Tinsley comes from a lot of family money. We know she has a trust fund. She's been on this show for 4 years. She also has a rich boyfriend. I don't think she's a kept woman. Um, it just was really kind of mean and out of nowhere, but made for a great show. So thank you, Dorinda. Oh, okay. Now, and other Real Housewife news. This was fun. Okay. We look for these funny highlights in the world. There isn't a lot of news and a lot of topics other than Corona, obviously. But Kelly Dodd, who's engaged to the Fox correspondent, he was standing outside, I think, of a hospital giving a report for Fox News. And Kelly Dodd was captured walking across the street doing the double bird. I don't know if someone yelled at her, someone beeped, someone said something, but she's like, "Yeah, fuck you, you little twerp, you dork." We don't know what she was saying, but it was amazing. It was captured. Um, I'm really curious to see where their lives go. I hope they end up together forever. Maybe he doesn't care to be a reporter anymore. Maybe it doesn't matter because it's Fox News. I don't know, but that was a great moment to enjoy. Also, in other news, Love After Lockup. Clint, he is the one that was like, "My goddess, Tracy, my goddess." Well, he's single. How do I know that? Because a juicy scooper was matched up with him on Bumble. And I have to say, the Bumble photos that he showed, that he's using, pretty good. Pretty good. Way more attractive than what we've seen on the show. Very sad news. No, Teresa and Joe Giudice's dad has passed. I'm not really sure what he passed from, but we know he's had health issues. But you know what's really so sad about this is I don't know that what do you know what they died of? What I feel really bad about, obviously everything in the world right now is sad, but if someone did pass, it wasn't from corona, but they had a nice long life and you wanted to really celebrate it. Unfortunately, you can't. You can't have the funeral. I just had to watch my friend's mother's funeral streaming from the church. And, I know weddings and everything's getting canceled, but that's also a really hard part that you can't have the comfort that you would want. Like when my parents passed, that's what I really loved was having everyone come to my house after, seeing friends I hadn't seen in a while, giving lots of hugs. So love to them and anybody that's going through anything like that right now. All right, let's get into some more fun. 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days is pretty freaking great. And my favorite couple is one of my favorite couples. I have a couple is Usman and baby girl Lisa. Usman is a 30-year-old Nigerian rapper named Soulja Boy, not the same one here. And he is very excited to come to America. And his girlfriend Lisa, baby girl Lisa is what he calls her. She's 52. And here he's smoking the hookah. He's very annoyed with Lisa because she's a bitch. She is critical. She uses bad language. She complains about everything. You think she'd be happy to have this good-looking 30-year-old guy, having sex with her and bringing her around, but she's not. And he's like, "God, I thought it'd be worth it just to come to America and be be a musical star in America, be on a TV show. But if I have to say sorry to you 35 times a day, I don't know that I want to do it. I don't even have anywhere to escape to. I can't call my brother, my mother. I'm going to be there by myself and you're awful." And she's like, "Listen, Usman, we've worked long and hard to get to this place. I'm not about to throw it away. All right. But you got to know that it's me." She's terribly jealous. And over the weekend, what's her name? Trisha Paytas. She's a huge YouTube star. She's a real sexy, pretty blonde girl. She, I guess, was like DMing with Usman, and then baby girl Lisa got in on it, and she shared all the texts or the DMs between them, and it was pretty entertaining. So I guess they're going to stay together and come to America, but that's where that left with them, their couple. Then we have these two, our first gay couple, the two bisexual YouTuber girls, and they got in a real bad fight. Erica is a little more sexual. She's all tatted up. She has half of her hair is pink, the other half is purple. Stephanie is, I don't even think she's really gay. I think she's trying it for the first time, to be honest. But she wanted to be on the show too. So they meet in Australia, where Erica's from. And Erica goes, I have something really fun for us to do. And they go to like a color me mine, except you take off your top and sets of lesbians put like a casting, like they make like a mold of your boobs for each other. So there's just like it's just like a bunch of people just touching each other's boobs, but at like like a little art studio on a busy street. So the girl's like, I feel this is kind of weird, but okay, this is the first time I'm touching her boobs, but I guess this is what we do. And then you like paint your boob and you put like little crystals on it, and I don't know, use it as like an art piece. They go out to dinner, and Stephanie brings up to Erica that Erica still has a dating app on her phone, and they get in a wicked fight. And what's kind of great is watching these two girls fight is they just fight like they were friends, but they're not. They're like sexually supposedly interested in each other. I'm a little bit called bullshit. So they're crying, and we don't know what's going to happen with them. Darcy is back. Darcy she has an identical twin named Stacy, and once again, they show shots of her just dragging a suitcase. She goes from Connecticut to New York City to meet Tom once more. And Tom was a photographer from London that she was with. And she's like, So he's like, hello. And he gets up to like hug her. And she goes, not really comfortable. Don't want to touch you. No, no, I don't want to. What is that? Okay, Tom, why don't you tell me what happened? Because we were talking a lot and then you just stopped. And it was my birthday, and thank you for that text. Yeah, that must have been a lot of effort to send me a text. I was waiting for a video call, but guess you were too busy. Guess you were. And he's like, Darcy, I don't know what happened between us. I thought we were going to be a great couple. I thought we had a lot of potential, but you continually talked about your ex-partner, Jesse, and put all that on me, and I didn't enjoy it to the point where I felt like you were more like a sister than really? Okay, that's awkward. You're calling me a sister? I have a sister. She's a twin sister. Don't want to be with her. Don't know what you're talking about, Tom. And he's like, well, yeah. She goes, why don't you tell me what you really want to tell me? Why don't you tell me the truth, Tom, that I know about? I know. I know. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You new girl? Yeah. Dude, you have a new girl. I saw it on Instagram. Okay. Yes, you're right. I do have a new girl. I met her. I was doing a photo shoot, and we met, and she loves me the way I wanted you to love me. Oh, okay. Why are we even here then? Can I get the check, please? And I'll pay for his coffee. And then he says, all right, so we're done. Yeah, don't want to be friends. Don't ever want to talk to you again, Tom. Really don't. Really don't. And then, and then he says, one more question before you leave. Yeah? Did you put weight on? Holy shit. The world was shook. Tom, don't know if you know this. Guys listening, you know what? That is about the worst thing you can say. Well, he fucking knows it. He probably hasn't slept in 24 hours since this thing has aired. He had to put a statement out. I feel terrible about what I said. Things, the edit, blah, blah, blah. But he had also said, he goes, I don't ever want to hurt you. And then later on he put, did you put weight on? And she's like, actually I did. Okay. And then she leaves and she comes out and she's like, no man will ever hurt me again. No man will. And I don't think any man will until the next guy that she meets. And that was a pretty great scene. So Tom's done. People liked him at first. People were like, Darcy's annoying. You bring up a woman's weight, no woman will be on your side ever. Okay? Speaking of great bodies, Ed is here. Ed is the 54-year-old photographer from San Diego in love with Rosemary from the Philippines. And this was a hard episode to take. They're in the hotel room. He had grilled her about did she have any venereal diseases, and then he wanted her tested. I don't really know what happened. She was offended. She wanted to break up with him. I guess he just dropped the test because they did bone. And first he says, take a shower, come out. I'm going to give you the greatest foot massage you've ever seen. So we witness him getting on his knees and giving her a foot massage. And we see that she does not shave her legs. So then he is all excited 'cause she goes into the bathroom and he's like, yes, yeah, to the cameraman in the room, which is so creepy that they're going to probably have sex at night. And the next scene is we see him up with his bed head, and his hair is so long and greasy because he has eczema, and he has to put mayonnaise in it for conditioning treatment so that his scalp doesn't get flaky. So it's pretty gross. And they both admitted that they boned, and he's like, I loved it. I haven't had a girlfriend in 28 years. I think she seemed like she liked it. Oh, so depressing. And then he says, he goes, give me a kiss. She's like, I don't like your beard. I don't like your beard. It's a scratchy on my face. I have to do her voice better. Wait, I taped it real quick. Hold on. So that I could remember. She has a different accent than a lot of the people. Hold on. Okay, maybe I didn't tape her. Sorry. And she's like, I don't like, I can't do her voice though. Let me just, she just says she doesn't like the beard. So he goes, well, I don't like your hairy legs. And it doesn't really turn me off. He says it a little bit nicer. He goes, you know how your legs are like the same as mine? And she's like, what? Because her legs are obviously longer. He's under 5 feet tall. And he goes, you know, like with hair on them, I don't like it. So if you go into the bathroom and shave your legs, I will shave my beard. So they both did that. Then they go to her village, and that part is very depressing. It's a very third world part of the Philippines. And he meets her sister, and she says, he's a little bit fat. So, and meanwhile, this sister has been getting money from him behind Rosemary's back. He's been sending money to the sister. So, next couple is the felon who's so cute with perfectly white teeth from Tennessee, and the girl from Russia. And they're still getting along. They have a lot of chemistry. They take a flight to visit her mom in a different part of Russia. She's in Siberia, and they show their cell phone video where they boned in the airplane, in the bathroom. They join the Mile High Club. So they have really good sexual chemistry, and they're both attractive. But he has domestic violence records that I guess TLC didn't know about, so who knows where they are today. Okay, then we have Yolanda. So Yolanda's 51. She is a widow. Her husband was in jail, and then he died. And then she lost a whole bunch of weight, and she met this guy named Williams on the internet. And I mean, I have never seen someone so gullible. Not that she isn't attractive, but the guy that she's supposedly talking to is got a body like The Rock and a face like a top model. And she believes that this guy is living in England, has money, and wants to marry her. Okay. Even though they've been talking for 7 months and the FaceTime portion of his cell phone doesn't work. She believes that. Now, I think it's all bullshit. I'm sorry to break it to you, kids. I know this is like finding out Santa Claus doesn't exist. Not only does this whole thing not exist, I think she knew it was bullshit, and maybe TLC knew it was bullshit too. And she wanted to be on the show because she has some online clothing business with her daughter that she wanted to get news from. Maybe she fell for it a little bit, and then the daughter was like, "Let's just keep going with it because this is a good story." Because people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, of course it's not true." Come on, I think even a 51-year-old woman, if you've got 5 kids that are like all in their 20s or 6 kids, you know about catfishing. You would have been sharing it with them. Now his Instagram thing deleted. They look up a number. It's from Nigeria. And all I could think about was, you know what would make the show real juicy? if the person that she was actually talking to was Usman, baby girl Lisa's guy from Nigeria. Wouldn't that be a fun crossover, twisty two, like exciting part of this show? But so she says to him, are you from Nigeria? He doesn't write her back. And then she's looking at her computer as the producers just happen to be filming her there, and she gets an email that says, we have naked pictures of you, and if you don't give us this amount of money, we're releasing them. And she's like, I don't know where this is coming from. I did send provocative nude photos, but that was to Williams. Who's this person that's writing me now? Williams is the only person that got these photos. What kind of person with this Nigerian email is writing me? Now, here's my question, Kelly. You know how when I get emails, they give me a choice to say thanks or I'll look into that. On this email, it says, okay, I will. They're asking for money. And it says, okay, I will. Where are you from? Who are you? Would the computer know that unless she was getting a lot of these? If someone just received an email for the first time saying, I have naked photos of you, you need to send me money, would the computer know to give you those three choices of an answer?
Pick up on certain words, and if it's the new email, it would say, who are you? And it's saying,
Okay. She said it would. Anyway, thought I was doing some detective work. So those are all the couples from 90 Day. And like I said, it's pretty juicy. The guy that's 60, who's a Ukrainian girlfriend, is, not showing up. They didn't feature him this week. That's next week. I continue to watch Sister Wives. I don't know why. I do know why. Okay. Because I'm obsessed with the horrible relationship that Meri has with her husband, Kody. Meri is wife number one. And they go to therapy. They've hated each other for, I think, like the last 10 years. She had a catfishing situation 2 years ago where she started to talk to someone online. Turned out it was a woman. She thought it was a hot guy. She was ready to leave the entire family of 45 people to go be with him. It was revealed. It was exposed in the tabloids somehow. They dealt with it last season. The other wives are just like, Meri. I don't think Meri and Kody have boned in 15 years. That's my personal opinion. I think he's so sick of her and resents her so much. One of the reasons is she only has one daughter. That one daughter is a lesbian, is engaged to somebody and lives in Chicago and is in her 20s. His other three wives all have a lot of children. I think between 6 and 5 children each. And they all have at least 3 or 4 at home. They leave their cul-de-sacs where they all had equal home sizes in Las Vegas, and they go to Flagstaff, and they bought this big property where they're going to all build their own houses. In the meantime, they all have to get homes for themselves. And the whole season is how they're struggling, and this was a horrible idea. Meanwhile, Meri is renting these big, huge houses, like 3 stories, an elevator, not super fancy, but big, big houses. And they're strapped. Like as a family, I don't know how it works with all the wives. I assume they each have their own, property and accounts. But he's pissed and he's frustrated. And the new wife, Robin, doesn't want to move into this house. And I think the problem is that Meri doesn't go, you know what, you guys, I don't need a big house. Let me just find an apartment. But she's like, no, fuck you. I'm wife number one. I'm miserable. I hate you all. But she says, fans tell me all the time, why don't I get out? Why don't I leave? She goes, but I wouldn't just be leaving Kody. I'd be leaving this entire huge family. And I can see that too. She's like, who am I going to be friends with? The LuLaRoe people that I sell shirts with? No. I mean, what would I do? So she hangs on to it, but she makes no sacrifices as being like, hey guys, it's only me. I don't need this big house. I can get rid of like some of my shit. I don't know why she has like 12 storage units worth of crap, but they go to a marriage counselor and they resent each other so much. But he's like, do I enjoy her? Do I like her? No. But I made a commitment to her, and we made a covenant to God that we're going to stay together. So, but God, nobody else likes her in the family either. What she does to me, she does to everybody else. And she's like, Mary's like, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm like, maybe it's because you had a fucking big house. You've had to move twice since you got to Flagstaff, and you've had to have everybody in the family help you. They're all probably fucking annoyed with you, Meri, as much as I am. Okay, Real Housewives of Atlanta. We're almost done with the season. This part was juicy. It was really about Kandi. Now, Kandi is married to Todd, and she has a daughter who's a teenager, and then they have one child together, little Ace. He's so cute. He's about 3. And she has a surrogate who currently in the show is about 8 months pregnant with their child, biological child. She gets a part on some show called Shy. I've never heard of it. Some show about Chicago. And she's got to do 10 weeks of filming in Chicago. And so she's doing that. And then she comes home and she's doing all this other stuff for Real House of Atlanta, making appearances, going to some event for Portia, for March of Dimes. And Todd is just like, yeah, this isn't cool. You're not making your family a priority. She does FaceTime with little Ace kid. He's crying. And she's like, well, now what am I supposed to do? I committed to doing all this. And he's like, look, I'm not doing what I want to do. What I want to do is production, but it doesn't make the money that Kandi Burroughs' husband should be making. So I'm not even doing what I like to do. And so I kind of thought that was really cool that they shared all that. And I think they have a really good relationship. So it's kind of interesting to see, them share their cracks with us. So I liked that. And then meanwhile, Kenya absolutely is getting divorced from that horrible Mark. He was just awful. And she revealed that she never got to meet his parents or talk to his mother. And I think people are finding new respect for Kenya as I am. And sadly, the reunion they just revealed is going to be via Zoom or Skype. So I don't know if they're all going to get super glammed up because their glam team technically can't come to their house. So they're going to have to do their own hair and makeup, I assume, then get in front of their Zoom. And I don't know how that's going to work with the interrupting and the stuff that we see at the reunion. If I was Bravo execs, I would probably hold off and do this reunion later. But maybe they feel they have so many new shows coming out. We've got New York started, Beverly Hills is coming, Potomac is coming, $1 Million Listing is coming. They have a lot of new shows that are coming that they probably are like, you know what, we're not going to want to do this reunion 2 months from now or whenever we can get out of this. So lots of juicy stuff going on, you guys. Hey, I have scheduled lots of fall dates. It's at heathermcdonald.net. Go look. There's some ticket links that are available. And I'm confident that I will be there. So, I don't want to push it, but I want you guys to just be aware of it because Cobb's has been rescheduled for November. I know I'm coming to Dallas and Houston, Sacramento. That's all starting in August, September, October, November. I have dates in all those months. So we're going to be throwing up those links as soon as we can so that you guys don't miss out on that when the world is fun and ready to rip it again. Now I have a very juicy interview. I really enjoyed talking to this girl. This is from Family Karma. It's the new show on Bravo. She was a total delight, Anisha, and got lots of scoop about the show in general, answered a lot of your questions. And again, like always, on Friday's Patreon, you go to patreon.com/juicyscoop. I will tell you some of my thoughts that I didn't reveal to our guest on that, as well as some behind the scenes things and the latest episode that I just watched. So this was taped last week on Zoom, and I found her to be really interesting. And if you're not watching the show, listen to the interview because I think you'll find a lot about their dynamic and this Indian culture to be fascinating, as did I. And of course, it's on Bravo, so why wouldn't you be looking at it? Here we go.